Thank you very much, everyone, for being here now in English. It's great to be in the United States of America. I have been really enjoying the goodwill of Americans. Americans love Canada. That's the great news that I take away from this trip. Incredible goodwill on the south side of the border. They want trade with Canada. They want partnership with Canada. They want friendship with Canada, as we've done for well over 200 years now. And we started in Detroit, where I fought for our auto sector, pushing an auto pact that would allow free trade across our border and will not only protect the jobs that are at risk today, but double our production back to where it was back in 2015. And the auto sector on the American side of the border was very happy because the plan that I put forward actually increases auto production for both Canada and the U.S. Then it was off to Houston, which is one of the great energy capitals of the world. Houston buys literally hundreds of millions of barrels of Canadian oil every single year. They don't just buy it, they transport it. Canadian oil goes by pipeline day after day, and I went to some of the terminals where our oil is received, processed, and shipped off to the world. The energy companies there were thrilled to hear my plan to boost production by a couple million barrels to make our country stronger, make our people better off, and make our dollar more powerful, so with life's affordable. I then went on to Austin, where I met with the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott. He wants to build even better trade relationships. Texas is one of the biggest export destinations for Canadian goods, and the Texas governor welcomed the idea of buying even more from Canada to support our economy. Then I was on to the Joe Rogan podcast, which is the biggest podcast in the world and the best place to sell Americans on the idea of tariff-free trade, to fight for our auto workers, our lumber workers, our steel and aluminum workers, and to fight for Canadian interests. We need to harness the goodwill of the American people, and what better place to do it than on the biggest podcast in the world, fighting for Canadian workers. Now on to New York, where I'll be speaking to the financial sector, and at the Foreign Policy Institute, I'll be making the case that Canada has leverage. We have strategic minerals, we have energy, we are the second biggest customer to the United States. It's in America's interest to have a strong tariff-free friendship with Canada. And so my mission here, of course, is to make Canada stronger at home, safer at home, more affordable at home, so that we can be unbreakable abroad. And I welcome your questions.
Mr. Poilievre, the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yes.
Why go on now and not during the campaign?
Well, the negotiations are coming up for the USMCA, or the CUSMA as we call it in Canada. I wanted to maximize Canadian leverage going in, and one of the biggest leverage points we have to fight for tariff-free trade, fight for our auto, steel, aluminum, and lumber workers is the goodwill of the American people. So I use the podcast to argue in favor of removing those tariffs, not just because it's great for Canadian workers, but also because it'll make life more affordable for American consumers.
How do you think you did on the podcast?
I think we had a great conversation. Joe's a great guy, and my mission was very simple: fight for Canada. I presented him with a big maple leaf on his kettlebell, which he'll see every time he works out. He'll think of Canadian workers who did the artisanal craftsmanship on that beautiful piece of equipment. And it was a great chance to fight for removing tariffs so that our people can have jobs and we can launch our economy from currently being the weakest in the G7 to being the strongest.
So the platform is of current interest to you because of tariffs, but in the past you've called the Joe Rogan podcast problematic. So
no,
why would you do it?
I haven't done that.
Would you do it again?
I don't see why not.
You enjoyed his company?
So,
you enjoyed his company?
I thought we had a great conversation about how the United States would be best served by eliminating all the tariffs so that we can make life safer and more affordable for Americans, and make paychecks bigger and our economy stronger for Canadians. So that's my message. I'm here to fight for Canada, to fight for our workers, our jobs, our steel, our aluminum, our lumber, our autos, and what better place to do it than on the biggest podcast in the world.
So what do you have planned for the rest of your time in New York?
We're giving a speech to I'm giving a speech to the Foreign Policy Institute, and I'm meeting with some major investors who, some of them have already pre-existing links to Canada, and I'll be making the argument to them they should be investing in Canada. Plow your capital back into our country so we can build things on the north side of the border and profit both Americans and Canadians as friends.
So do you feel you have some repair work to do with the relationship between the two nations?
Unfortunately so. I mean, we've got these very unfortunate tariffs in place, but we got to focus on what we can control, right? We can't control what the president says or does, but we can control how we react. And so my mission has been to make Canada stronger at home by unblocking our resources, unleashing our economy, building up our reserves of energy and minerals, and then using all that leverage to get tariff-free access to the American market.